you're experiencing that today. You're experiencing these hardware vendors which are capturing a massive amount of not only attention but economic rent and value. I think the estimates now are about 1.8 trillion with the T dollars that are being poured into not only the hardware and the semiconductor layers of this stack, but also now the infrastructure. You know, this group of hyperscalers that have took advantage of the last wave of internet capabilities and mobile capabilities are best positioned now to be the hyperscalers of the future, to deliver compute on demand, not just CPU compute, but now GPU compute. Right. And so these waves were in the middle of this build out of infrastructure where they would look to deliver artificial intelligence, I call it capabilities. In many cases, it will be inference capabilities into the marketplace that will be utilized ultimately by the software vendors and ultimately by companies that are going to use it to enable their infrastructure to be more efficient. And this is a very important aspect of what is the future of software? What is the future of AI? What's the future of AI in software? The way to think about it, and the way we think about it, is AI won't eat software, it will actually feed software. And it will feed software so software can actually displace and augment services. You know, a big part of what's important is there was a report by IBM, I think 2 weeks ago, less than 1% of the enterprise data actually exists in the public domain. So these large-scale models have not absorbed that data and don't have access to it because that is proprietary data that sits within the enterprise. Much of that sits within enterprise software infrastructure. And so the important part of being an investor in this space is understanding a few things. One, do the enterprise vendors, enterprise software companies, and companies have sovereignty and dominion over their workflows and data sets? If you do not, frankly, those companies don't really have a right to exist because these, you know, very capable models, large language models in this case, will absorb this data and information and in some cases, you know, render less utility to those workflows and data sets. But if you actually have maintained that as a function of the business that you built, the industries that you serve, the way that you have brought specific use cases to those industries, that should give you a unique opportunity as an incumbent to take advantage of this new technology. So that's kind of point one. And so the important aspect of this is how do you really think about how AI is going to evolve? You know, we've been using various forms of artificial intelligence across our infrastructure for well over a dozen years. The early states of artificial intelligence and machine learning, focusing on specific algorithms, you know, sets of rules, and actually leveraging that to deliver predictive type outcomes and predictive information or data sets in the environment. Well, the introduction of this generative AI, which actually came from some of the early work that they were doing at Google, in essence, starts to generate predictive call it next states. So rather than as you're typing something and it's trying to predict what the next letter is, it will now put it in context and say, well, maybe let's start predicting what the next word is or what the image should be, or et cetera. And as they started to put more capability, compute capability into that neural fabric, in essence, they found that it became much more productive from a generative perspective.